Okay, so when you think of dengue fever, you probably think of mosquitoes, pain, just a really awful time, right? But what if I told you it could also be seen as, well, a kind of spiritual messenger? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty unique perspective, one that reframes a physical illness as a profound signal from deep inside ourselves.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. A mosquito bite? What could that possibly teach me about anything spiritual? It sounds a little out there, I get it. But the source material for this explainer makes a really fascinating case that even something as small as a mosquito bite can carry a huge message for our inner world. So, how on earth does that work?
All right, let's get on the same page real quick. We know the medical facts. Dengue is a virus. You get it from a mosquito, and it comes with a whole list of nasty symptoms. But this is exactly where we're asked to take a little detour and look beyond just the biology. And here's the pivot. This is where things get really interesting. This perspective asks us to stop seeing the body as just a biological machine and instead to see it as a sacred temple. And if your body is a temple, then an illness isn't just bad luck, it's a signal, a kind of alarm bell pointing to something deeper.
And this idea isn't new, not by a long shot. It's rooted in ancient wisdom, like this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. The core concept here is that our body is just a temporary place the soul is living in. So if that's true, then everything that happens to the body, including getting sick, becomes a part of this much, much bigger spiritual story.
So if getting sick is a signal, what is it actually trying to tell us? Let's break it down. We're going to go through the common symptoms of dengue one by one and explore the incredible spiritual parallels this perspective draws for each.
First up, the big one, that sudden, intense fever that just comes out of nowhere. We've all felt that feeling, that overwhelming heat when we're sick. So what's the connection? Well, that intense physical heat of the fever is seen as a mirror for the spiritual heat of what's called kāma. That's this idea of a burning, uncontrolled worldly desire that just completely takes over. It's a powerful thought, isn't it? Just like a fever burns up the body, this inner fire can burn up our peace of mind.
Okay, next, another horrible symptom, those pounding headaches and that feeling of intense pressure right behind your eyes.
And what could that pressure possibly symbolize? Well, it's seen as a direct reflection of mental pressure. You know, the crushing weight of all our worries, our anxieties, the things we're attached to. It suggests that finding relief isn't just about popping a painkiller, but maybe also about looking at what we're clinging to so tightly in our minds. And then there's that deep, body-wide ache, the one in your joints and muscles that makes every single movement feel heavy, like you're moving through molasses. That physical heaviness, that ache, is compared to something called samsara, which is basically the exhausting, repetitive cycle of struggle we can get caught in. It's that feeling of being spiritually worn out, entangled, and weighed down by the same old problems day after day. And finally, we have that powerful physical rejection, nausea and vomiting. It's a very clear, very visceral sign from your body saying, "Get this out of me now." The spiritual parallel here is just as intense. The body physically rejecting a virus is seen as a mirror for the soul's deep need to reject Maya. That's the powerful illusion that tells us we can find lasting, real happiness in things that are, temporary. It's a call to purify what we consume, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually too.
Okay, so if the symptoms are all signals, what about the treatment? This is where it gets really practical. The next step is to reframe the standard medical advice we all get as its own kind of spiritual practice.
You know what the doctor always says, no matter what you have, rule number 1, get plenty of rest. Let your body heal itself.
And in this view, physical rest has a spiritual twin. It's not just about stopping work and lying on the couch. It's about taking a rest from the noise of the world. It means choosing to rest in a state of devotion, turning your attention inward, away from the chaos, and giving yourself space for a much deeper kind of healing.
And right up there with rest is, of course, hydration. Doctors always stress it. Drink plenty of fluids to flush your system and help your body recover.
The parallel here is just beautiful. Think about how water cleanses and rejuvenates your physical body. Well, that's compared to bhakti rasa, which you can think of as the nectar of devotion. The idea is that just as water flushes out physical toxins, a constant flow of devotional practice is what truly cleanses and nourishes the soul from the inside. So this all leads to a really important question. If we can treat our body and spirit together, can we also protect them together? Let's see how this framework looks at the all-important idea of prevention. Think of it like a shield with two layers. Physically, we know the drill. Get rid of any stagnant water where mosquitoes can breed. The spiritual parallel, it's about proactively cleaning out the stagnant pools in our own lives. Negative thinking, bad habits, harmful company. Then, physically, we use bug spray or wear long sleeves as a shield. Spiritually, things like prayer or chanting are seen as that exact same thing, a powerful, protective shield against the bugs of harmful illusion. But what happens when things get really bad? When the illness becomes a full-blown crisis? The source material is incredibly clear on this, and it frames this moment as something that requires a very urgent, two-pronged response. And let's be absolutely crystal clear here. Sometimes dengue becomes severe. It can be a life-threatening medical emergency. This is not something you just reflect on or treat with metaphors. This is a critical warning, and because of that, the response has to be immediate, and it has to be dual. Step 1, without a doubt, you seek immediate professional medical attention for the body. At the same exact time, from this spiritual perspective, you also seek urgent guidance and support for the spirit. The message is simple. It's never one or the other. It's always both. And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. Look, whether you subscribe to this specific belief system or not, the whole idea is a masterclass in reframing our challenges. It leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. If something like an illness can be seen as an opportunity for this kind of deep reflection, what other challenges in our lives might just be opportunities in disguise?